New data on the size of Wall Street bonuses, an annual tradition, and this time around, we learned that Wall Street bonuses in New York, just New York, for last year totaled $26.7 billion. And here is a really fun fact about those bonuses. The total amount of bonuses paid to Wall Street was $11 billion more than the total amount made by every full-time minimum wage worker in all of America in the previous year. Let me say that again. The amount of Wall Street bonuses paid in 2013 was $11 billion more than the total income of every full-time minimum wage worker in America in the previous year. Now, that is a fundamental fact about how this economy works, a defining feature. And right now, there's an array of battles heading towards trying to shrink that gap. McDonald's workers in 3 states filed suits alleging the company and some franchise owners illegally underpaid employees by erasing hours from their time cards, not paying overtime, and ordering them to work off the clock. McDonald's, in a statement, did not claim the charges were specious, rather said it was committed to undertaking a comprehensive investigation of the allegations. Also today, President Obama announced an expansion of overtime eligibility for low-paying salary jobs.
I'm directing Tom Perez, my Secretary of Labor, to restore the common sense principle behind overtime. If you go above and beyond to help your employer and your economy succeed, then you should share a little bit in that success.
Shrinking the inequality gap between the haves and the have-nots has 2 sides of the ledger. There's lifting the wages and prospects of the have-nots, and there's taking down the excess of the haves. Right now, there is not much discussion of the latter in Washington, but there is a very good reason to think that redistributing money from haves to have-nots would actually make the economy perform better as a whole. Every extra dollar going into the pockets of low-wage workers adds about $1.21 to the national economy. Every extra dollar going into the pockets of a high-income American, by contrast, only adds about 39 cents to the GDP. So, $26.7 billion in Wall Street bonuses injects only about $10 billion into the economy. Putting the same amount of money, $26.7 billion, into a minimum wage increase would inject $32 billion into the economy, 3 times as much. Joining me now, Alexis Goldstein. She used to collect paychecks from Merrill Lynch, Deutsche Bank, and J.P. Morgan Stanley, working in information technology. Now she's communications director for the other 98%. And Alexis, we will begin with the question of the psychology of bonus time in Wall Street. How that Jordan Belfort quote is great because it captures this fundamental thing. Too much is never enough. What is the psychology of the bonus on Wall Street like?
So you have to understand that the goal of a lot of people on Wall Street is to accumulate what we call FU money. And FU money is basically a sum of money that is so vast, you can go around and you can say FU to whoever you want completely without consequence.
It's a perverse desire. I think everyone has had something like that desire, but as the thing to order and structure your life around, it is a bit odd.
It is, and it's very juvenile. I think another part of sort of the bonus culture is there's this very strong sense that we deserve this, we earn this, we work harder than everybody else. I studied the right thing in school. You know, these fast food workers, maybe they should have studied harder. And there's this lack of acknowledgement. It's this judgment about what hard work is deserving and what hard work is undeserving.
And there's also the aspect to the compensation structure on Wall Street that I think is really important for people to understand, is that it is a rigged game in many ways, insofar as there are ways for Wall Street managers to make money whether the deals they're doing are doing well or poorly. Private equity has all kinds of ways of building in fee structures, so you're taking money out in your pockets even if the deal you created goes bankrupt.
That's right. You get a little bit of commission whether or not your client makes money. And I actually had somebody tell me on Wall Street that it didn't matter if you performed as an employee or not. All that mattered is if you had a managing director who had your back. So it's just all about, you know, kissing the right behind and making sure that, you know, you rip your client's face off and that you get that commission money regardless of whether or not your client comes out right at the other end of their trade.
The other thing about this is, and this is true of CEO compensation, is that even if it's staggered and relative between people, right, it cannot be the case that everyone is outperforming the mean. I mean,
that's right.
There are a lot of people who are making a lot of money just by definition. This is definitional. There are a lot of people making a lot of money on Wall Street who are performing underneath the average of Wall Street performance.
Yeah, I think a lot of people genuinely believe on Wall Street that if they were to go become teachers, they would be the best teachers in the world. Or if they had to drive a garbage truck, they would be the best garbage truck driver. But it's just not true. They are overpaid for what they do. There is a subsidy that the biggest banks still get. It's $83 billion a year. And what that means is because the market still thinks they're too big to fail, people that loan them money loan them at an artificially low rate. And that's $83 billion a year. And it seems like they're pocketing a lot of that right into bonuses. You know, I mean, while these fast food workers have to go on public assistance because they're getting paid poverty wages, and oh, shocker, McDonald's is also getting subsidized in that way too. So as a country, we worship the rich and we despise the working poor. We worship the bailed out rich and despise the working poor.
There's a report today. I think there's two arguments to be made on this inequality question. One's a matter of simple justice and fairness, and I like that because it gets my lefty heart all aflutter. But there's a practical argument to be made about the performance and stability of the economy as a whole. And I couldn't believe this. This is a new report today from the IMF of all people. I remember being in campus in college and protesting the IMF for their vision of a neoliberal, vast, unequal world. The IMF of all people saying inequality is a drag on growth. This is not a pinko lefty outfit, the IMF. This is a extremely conservative, historically outfit. And they are saying actually extreme inequality like we're seeing, actually is hurting growth.
Well, I think that goes back to the FU money concept. People who are extremely wealthy tend to hoard their money. You talked about it in your book. It's this idea of fractal inequality. It's not about I'm making $40 million a year or whatever it is. I'm making less than the idiot at a desk next to me, and I want more. And so I don't put money into the real economy. Whereas people who are just struggling to get by, pretty much every bit of that dollar that they earn is going to go right back into the economy.
Alexis Goldstein from the other 98%, formerly of Wall Street. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming up, Wisconsin's Republican Governor Scott Walker is in a tight race for his job.
Why would you start your campaign out with a lie? The facts? Unemployment's going down under Walker. And we can't trust Mary Burke.
The attack ads are already out, but the governor may be trying something else to get an edge, too. I'll talk to his opponent, Mary Burke, about what he's up to next.